So what's going to happen today is that we are going to take a look at that very well worn keyboard over there, and we're going to clean a bit up and maybe kind of pimp my keyboard kind of thing. As you might have noticed, the keyboard itself is somewhat worn out, at least at some of the keys, that you cannot read the keys. So we're probably going to change those out as well in a very fashionable black and pink scheme. But first, taking apart the thing. For that purpose, we're going to use this white little vial with a bit of dishwasher's cleaning fluid and just kind of pick them from the keyboard itself, like so. And as is quite plainly obvious, is that some of the keys at least are not as easily detachable as the others. We'll come back to them in a few seconds. We can also make a notice out of the exceedingly grady parts of my keyboard, like so. So let's first detach the undetachable keys. As it turns out, these are connected. The little holes there are connected to the white things over there. Bit rickety. Will be exciting to see if we can get it to work when we try to assemble this keyboard again. For the next part of the cleaning process, we need a few things. For instance, this microfiber cloth. We need some isopropanol and a bit of Q-tips, as we call them, these guys. Now for this process, we're just going to start off with a bit of dry rubbing off the crud and stuff that's on the keyboard. We'll of course use my little sticks. In general, clean the whole keyboard that way first. Second time we'll go with some isopropanol, clean a bit up, and we're going to use the microfiber rag just to rub off a bit of what's on the top. I'm going to use a vacuum cleaner to get little remnants that I haven't gotten rubbed off with my cotton sticks. Now, after having gotten the rough stuff, the grit if you will, and kind of extracted it from my keyboard, I'm now going to use some rubbing alcohol, or as I called it earlier, isopropanol. In order to get the most amount out of my rubbing alcohol, I'm going to kind of pour it into a smaller little glass container. This one. And we'll start off with that amount. Of course, as always, you're supposed to do this under great ventilation, but I did not do that. So if this video gets a bit more wonky, that is probably me getting a bit of a buzz thanks to my rubbing alcohol. Now to further clean the grit and dirt that I didn't get off my keyboard with my cotton sticks, I have to use some dental picks. These guys. Now for a final cleaning session, I'll use some water and a microfiber cloth. So now that the keyboard is sitting around, having the rubbing alcohol evaporate off of it, we're going to do a bit of cleaning of the keys. Now, for that part of the job, as I said, we need some warm water, lukewarm perhaps, some dish washing liquid, and a great amount of time. After I have cleaned these keys, I'm going to have to leave them drying for a while, because they have water around them, and water and electronics usually don't mix too good, as opposed to rubbing alcohol. Now we have cleaned the keys, and as I said, water and electronics usually don't mix too well together. So I'm going to leave them here to dry for a while, with a bit of paper on top just to take off the extra moisture there. We will now assemble the keyboard. I have brought up my trusted BlackBerry to check out if I put the layout correctly, and I'll, as I mentioned earlier, give it a bit of pink spin after I assemble it correctly. I'm thinking that the biggest problem in assembling this keyboard would be these little iron spike things here, which is used for the larger keys. Because if you're going to use those properly, you're going to have this white thing, put it on, and you have to put a key in connection to the white thing as well. So that could take some time and be a bit of a challenge. But let's assemble the rest of the keyboard. I shall begin with the numbers and see where I can put those guys. So that's the keyboard all cleaned up, pinked up, and presumably and hopefully it will be ready for use. I am not quite confident that it actually works, because I have done things to it that no keyboard ever should live through, and I guess to this keyboard the pain might be too real. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this one out and also see if there is any way I could pink up the thing more so it looks even more garish, because I have a full set of keycaps, pink keycaps, that should be quite useful in that particular endeavor. So the basic idea here is that hopefully I'll get a few good years out of gaming out of this Filco keyboard, and see if I ever manage to break the keyboard by playing on it, and as opposed to, you know, just throwing it away, kind of. A few words also on the pink keycaps. I bought them on eBay. Some Chinese salesperson specifically asked for something that was suitable for a cherry keyboard. But this one is, as you might have noticed, a blue cherry. But of course there are such things as a profile of keys and so forth, and you can easily see that the W here towers a bit above the Q and E. And here you also see that the arrow, the up arrow, towers a bit above the others. So I think it might be have been designed for a keyboard with less inclination. But we'll find out. I'm going to amuse myself by playing with this thing, and we'll see what it ends up in.